What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ango, and in this video we got a ton of news stories to discuss. Yeah, actually, I'm not even playing around. I even have timestamps back in this one, so if you guys are looking to go to a specific topic, check out the timestamps down below. We're talking about new debuts, several debuts. We're talking about crossover storylines, major plans for AEW, also a new role for a member of the AEW roster, and also, guys, we got to talk about NXT. Ricochet going back to NXT. We're going to kick things off with that. This is a very interesting story. I like this story. I like the idea of this. In fact, I think AEW can take notes, especially with ROH being the new thing for Tony Khan. If you guys don't watch NXT, we saw AJ Styles and Grayson Waller. Now we see Natalya being paired with Lash Legend. They got a little storyline going on between Natalya and Cora Jade. The idea is for veterans to go to the developmental brand and work with some of the talent and just try to rub off some greatness onto them. And here's the thing. If you watched NXT back in 2012, you know, it wasn't necessarily a shock if a underutilized main roster talent went to NXT. The difference is today in 2022, Natalya and AJ Styles are being used every single week, and Ricochet, as much as I admittedly hate how WWE has booked Ricochet, he is still an Intercontinental Champion, and him going down to NXT is just as good. Now, the idea here is for them to go down there, work with talent, help them get better, maybe rub off a little bit on them. And I think this is actually a really good thing, especially for guys like Ricochet, because Ricochet, there's been rumors that Ricochet was going to go down to NXT specifically so he can feud with Carmelo Hayes. They even had a little bit back and forth on Twitter, which was awesome. I like both guys. I've been saying that Carmelo Hayes is going to be the MVP of pro wrestling, sports entertainment, and, having him involved with people on the main roster just as like a nice little sneak peek is a great thing. Now, you might be wondering, Ango, you said that this was going to be somewhat of something that like AEW should take notes of, right? And I do agree. I think when AEW has ROH, I think ROH 1,000,000% should be the developmental brand. And I think they should literally treat it just like NXT. Focus on trying different things. Focus on things that maybe you wouldn't want to do for like Dynamite and Rampage, but do it on ROH. And on top of that, have people from the main roster of Rampage, Dynamite, whatever, have them go down to ROH at times and have crossover feuds. I think this is an important idea that AEW can learn from because, at the end of the day, Wheeler Yuta was not ready to be on TV. But now, because Wheeler Yuta's working with the very best, he is my favorite part of AEW TV. And that's why I love having veterans work with the young guys. And that's what AEW needs to do. They need to do it. And they need to be more than just pro wrestlers. They need to be truly great entertainers. They need to connect with the crowd. They don't have to have some corny ass, funny ass, stupid ass gimmick, but what they need to do is show that they're serious with some sort of character that's going to garnish a reaction. And whether we admit it or not, I told you guys, I don't like Sammy Guevara. I don't like Ty Conti. I don't like the storyline, but that's the idea. They don't want me to like it. They don't want me to like them. They want me to think it's cringe. They want me to hate it. And that's what wrestling is supposed to do. Now, with that being said, guys, I want to turn our attention to Michael Nakazawa. If you guys are unfamiliar, Michael Nakazawa is one of the stooges for Kenny Omega and the Elite, but now he has turned into a new role. Right here on Twitter, he announced today, although I almost turned down this offer from NJPW World, I wasn't confident. Since I wasn't confident, I've been working on Japanese subtitles for AEW shows, which are webcast to Japanese fans via NJPW World. I am green at this job, but I will try my best so that more Japanese fans will enjoy AEW. This is fantastic news. Honestly, Michael Nakazawa's original signing for AEW. Obviously, he doesn't get used on television very often, and when he does get used, it's because he's one of the stooges with Brandon Cutler. I like Michael Nakazawa. I remember at the very, very early stages of AEW, I know a lot of people had some controversial opinions on Nakazawa because the baby oil and stuff, but Nakazawa was awesome, man. I really think he's awesome, and I hope that he could still be with AEW in some capacity. This is great. AEW, New Japan working together to bring Dynamite and Rampage to the fans in Japan. I think it's awesome. And the idea that Nakazawa could also be part of this, and he's going to have a role. It's a very important role. And it just goes to show you that, just because they might not have something for you as a wrestler, because you got to remember, he was wrestling on AEW originally. you could still have a role within the company. And hopefully it all works out for Naka. I think Nakazawa is the man. I look forward to seeing what comes out of this NJPW AEW deal. I use NJPW World and I like it. So, you know, ultimately this is like good stuff. There's really nothing you could complain about it. And hopefully when Kenny comes back, we'll still see him on TV. Guys, with that being said, I want to switch our attention to Stardom. Apparently, Stardom is interested in Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and this is really awesome. So obviously, we had talked about the idea of more cross-promotion, maybe a crossover event between AEW and Stardom. Now, Dave Meltzer chimes in. He says there hasn't been talks with Stardom, but Stardom is interested. As of a week ago, there was talk. There was no talk whatsoever. I know for a fact that Stardom is interested in working with AEW. Stardom's got their own big shows when they run Sumo Hall. I know Stardom would love to have Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, those people on there at the Sumo Hall show at the end of the year. I don't see anything on June 26th, and there really shouldn't be, because when you start diluting things, there's already... because then you start diluting things. There's already between New Japan and AEW... men, there's the show between them. Obviously, I'm not going to read the rest of this. I think it's silly. But yeah, you know, basically what he's saying is AEW's men are going to have a crossover show with NJPW's men because NJPW doesn't have a women's division. You might not see women on the card, that type of thing. Here's the thing, guys. Long story short, Stardom being interested in Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa is good. Now, does this have any business implications for either company, right? I don't know. I don't care. And I think that's one of the things that, like, not everything's about business. Sometimes it's just about making the fans happy and your specific audience happy. I'm 100% in favor of them doing this. I think it's really important for AEW to do this. You know, we've seen a lot of AEW stars back and forth between New Japan and Impact, but then it kind of died down. Obviously, COVID happened. Like, there was some scenarios that it just didn't work out. I think this is important. I think this should be a priority for Tony Khan. If I was in Tony Khan's shoes, and I was going to be building relationships with other companies, if I'm going to be the company that is anti-WWE, because that's what AEW is, okay? They're anti-WWE. Every press conference, media scrum, it's always about how AEW is best, AEW is different, whatever. Then if I'm going to be the anti-WWE, I'm going to rile up an army filled with all these other companies, and I'm going to cross-promote with them. So I'm going to genuinely make them better, and I'm going to hope that they make me better. Now, does that actually help business? I don't know. But if you can't beat WWE, then you join together. Maybe there's something there, right? To me, I think Stardom bringing in Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa is great, but we need to see more people from Stardom in AEW. And as you guys know, we have been talking about this a lot recently, so you could go back into the playlist and watch the videos. But it needs to be more than a one-off thing. At this point, I feel like you should be building a super brand filled with all this other talent and building each other up together. This is a great way to do it. Plus, for Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa to go represent AEW out there, I'm sure would have some sort of advantages to the overall business, you know, for AEW out there. And with that being said, guys, I want to turn our attention to our final story of today's video. Several debuts at AEW Dark, and these are honestly some sick debuts. These are great debuts. So as you guys know, there's a lot of people who were there, obviously at the taping, and some notable names. Leon Ruff, formerly of WWE and Evolve. Leon Ruff was at AEW Dark. I'm not going to spoil the match outcomes or anything like that, but I'll just tell you guys who was there. Impact Wrestling's latest star to have left the company, Jake Something. By the way, just a quick mention, Jake Something is really freaking good. I hate the name, but he's really good. He was really good in Impact. They just couldn't come up with an offer. I had a feeling that he would be showing up on AEW at some point. Now he's at AEW Dark. Will this lead to a contract? I don't know, but he is a good signing, whoever decides to bring him in. I always thought Jake Something would be some type of guy that WWE would want, just the way that he works, his style and everything like that. So far, that hasn't been the case. Also, what I thought was really cool, so those were two really nice debuts, but a really, really cool debut. And again, this comes down to the crossover stuff. Guys, we saw the debut of the LA Dojo Boys, okay? And this is sick because if you guys don't know, this is one of those things, NJPW crossing over with AEW. I mean, first of all, I don't think it should be taking place on Dark. I feel like this should have taken place on TV. But the idea that these guys had finally made their way to AEW Dark is awesome. So, for example, Alex Coughlin is somebody who I have been speaking very highly of for a while. I'm excited to see that he is there at AEW Dark. And then obviously Carl Fredericks. You know, you just have a very, very cool like group of people from the LA Dojo. Like, look, it's just cool. And then, you know, Kevin Knight is somebody who's starting to make a name, and like, guys, this is what you want, man. You want the groups to come out. You want faction wars. Like, that to me is what I think people want. And the LA Dojo from New Japan is just like, I feel like they deserved a little bit better than coming to Dark, but I'm still excited. The one thing I will say, and I said this before because a lot of people tend to like hate what I say about Dark, it looks like they're trying to change the overall perspective of Dark. We'll give it time. Based on what I've heard, based on who I've talked to, people at the event, they said, you know, you still have your squash matches, but there was a couple more things where they try to make it feel pretty important, which is good. This is one of those scenarios. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. I do appreciate you guys watching this video. As you know, I'm coming out with videos 7 days a week. I actually have a link to a playlist right here. Make sure you guys check it out. Also, live on the Ango show immediately after Raw. Come and hang out with us. You're not going to want to miss the live show. The link is in the description down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.